All right, what up, my people? John Mosales here, Jason Baum. It's the NFL Fantasy Today show. We got a banger Thursday night. We sent Brian over to Barcelona because he wasn't pulling his weight and his model was making us look bad. So it's just the two of us today. We're gonna break down everything. We're gonna do the preview. Jason's gonna, I call him the angel of death, the bearer of bad news. He's gonna do the injury report. And we had like 1 week off, and it's just getting uglier and uglier. Right, fantasy football is a war of attrition. It's about surviving. Yeah, Jason, well, what's up? Big game tonight.
Yeah, huge game tonight. It definitely feels like a must-win if you're the Niners. You can't afford to go 0-3 in the division. And yes, as a Niner fan, I'm extremely nervous. I usually try to move on from games about an hour after they happen. It's been pretty tough to move on from what happened on Sunday against the Cardinals for a number of reasons, but mainly, that was just such a bad loss for the Niners. Blowing just another 10-point lead. They've blown multiple 10-point leads in this calendar year already. Super Bowl included. Sorry, fam. Got to own it. It's there. It exists. They have to get it done tonight. You can't go 0-3 in the division and have any hopes of winning the division, let alone, and then that really puts your playoff hopes in peril as well.
Yeah, I had the Niners team points at like 29, 27 and a half, and they had 23 at half, and I was like, oh, this is easy. And they didn't score a single point in the second half. Like,
the red zone efficiency has just been awful. They just at this point they settle for kicks, and they also didn't have a kicker for most of the game on Sunday, which really does alter your battle plans. They went for it on a 4th and 22, from the 25 or 30 yard line, where they were just basically trying to just do a glorified punt. They threw a little dumper over the middle to George Kittle. He got actually a decent amount of the yards back, but obviously it wasn't enough, and the Cardinals took over on downs from there. So that was also a really tough situation. Definitely altered some battle plans, but again, it adds to the red zone inefficiencies. And then, obviously the Jordan Mason fumble was just absolutely killer.
His first one.
First and goal inside the 15-yard, or 1st and 10 just outside the 10-yard line. And to cough that ball up was just absolutely killer when the Niners could have slammed the door, and they haven't done that this calendar year. Again, we go back to the blowing of the 10-point leads. You go back to the Super Bowl. You go back to the Rams game. You go back to Sunday. This team just doesn't finish right now.
Okay, so if you couldn't tell, there's going to be a lot of Niners talk today. We're going to get into the Thursday night preview in a bit, but Jason's just actually going to keep going. He's going to round up the injuries. Although, let's just hit our first question here. Let's just,
Sure.
You came in, HD, you were in early. You started us off when we were live, so we're going to hit you. All right, full PPR. Would you guys trade Chase Brown, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts for Josh Jacobs and Trey McBride? Wow, full PPR. Okay. I'm gonna marinate on this. Jason? Any opening thoughts here?
As great as Jacobs isn't in the passing game, he doesn't get you a lot of receiving touchdowns, doesn't get you a ton of catches.
He had zero receiving touchdowns in his career. It's like the longest streak in NFL history.
I'm actually going to say no on this one. I get trying to sell Chase Brown a little bit high, but I think he's going to really emerge, and he's still a threat out of the pass game, especially in the full PPR standpoint. They can get him the ball in the screen game and some other short to intermediate routes as well. Kyle Pitts existed last week. What do you have? 7 catches, 8 catches.
84 yards.
Darnell Mooney has finally become the receiver we were all thinking he was going to be for years with the Bears. He's having a Pro Bowl season so far. So at this point, I'm hanging on to those 3 guys.
Yeah, and again, it all depends on who's your tight end, right? You have some bum in there, so McBride's going to fill that. Are you streaming? How deep are you? Do you like the Falcons? Right? Looks like you're Mooney Pitts pretty heavily invested in the Falcons, but Kirk Cousins just threw for 500, right? So would you be selling high? Is that even something you want to do? So I love trading to trade because trading's just fun, but I probably hold on for a little bit, right? Let's all these guys are going to see their value probably go up a little higher. And then, Josh Jacobs, he's kind of made of glass, right?
So yeah, banged up a little bit. And they have a couple other guys too that could emerge as well. I think the other thing is, Kirk Cousins threw the ball 56 times the other night. 56! Everybody was thinking this guy was done, and he's not done.
Okay, so you're in an 8-man league. So 8-man league, really. So all you care about is top end talent. I would switch it for me. I would just be like, so Trey McBride's a top end tight end. You're trading, Pitts. We're doing Pitts for McBride. So that's pretty much what you're doing the trade for, which, makes sense to me. Right? 8-man leagues are just all about just get the best player in the trade. It's the only thing that matters.
You need to be stacked.
Yeah.
If you're
Okay.
not,
Okay.
you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? We're gonna keep rolling with questions, and then when we get a lull, Jason.
Wait, hold on. We got to do our final verdict here. I say no. You say.
I say do it just for the Trey McBride, so you don't have to have the Kyle Pitts heart attack every week, because he is crazy. Because you're not starting Mooney, or you're with your stack team. You're not starting Mooney or Brown really. And running backs are a chain, James Conner, Zach Moss. So Josh Jacobs probably can sneak in there over a chain because he's going to be banged up, hit or miss. Are you a big dynasty guy, Jason? This is gonna be all you. I'm not like crazy.
I do dynasty for basketball. I'm really interested in it for football. I do have a dynasty basketball league. Shout out the Regen Fantasy Dynasty Fantasy Basketball League. We're heading on year 5. Shout out my guys, love y'all. And those are also the same guys that provide me my prop information over the course of every Thursday. So I love y'all.
Okay, Coda, we got too bad Bry's not here. Bry's in this crazy 30 deep fantasy league that's like a job. Should I trade the likely second overall draft pick for Travis Etienne, JSN in a dynasty league? Okay, so dynasty league right off the bat, Etienne's probably going to lose his job soon to Tank Bigsby, right? Peterson just gave him the kiss of death, saying that Etienne's his starting running back, and usually when they have to do that, it means there's a problem. So Bigsby's coming, but JSN's also coming. Hasn't truly broken out yet. But it's kind of
a little bit this year. He's been getting a lot of targets. I think he had 7 catches. I think he's had 7. I think he's had 15 or 16 receptions over the last 2 games for over 150 yards. He's getting a lot more targets and a lot more burn. His time is coming for sure.
Yeah.
He's an already established guy, and this year's receiver class, coming out in the draft. And is not the last couple of years. So I actually really wouldn't mind. I actually wouldn't mind pulling the trigger on this. Because
you're probably taking a QB second overall. Like the QB is going to be stacked, but even though we know those are coin flips, and usually it could take a couple years.
This quarterback class too also is just not. This isn't it. This last one was great. This year's is very dicey. There's no one dominant guy. I mean, it feels like at this point, Shedeur Sanders will probably be the first quarterback taken off the board. And he's probably the most pro-ready just, with, having that experience and having, the family bloodlines and everything and really understanding what it takes to be a pro. And there's some other good ones there that I think will go later in the draft, but not guys who will help you right now for dynasty fantasy football.
Okay, so I think what we try to do is I would try and move ATN out, maybe replace him with somebody, try and get a younger running back. Although it looks like you're trying to compete now if you're trading the second overall pick. So Travis could help you this season, but the Jags O-line is trash. They're behind in games. They're playing catch up, and Bigsby's coming. But JSN is definitely the kind of guy you want to target for that. So I'd say that second overall pick that's a juicy pick, right? So you want a max value for that. So I would try and replace ATN with somebody and keep JSN.
I would make sure you would add the other person's first round pick in there.
I mean, if you could do that, sure.
Yeah. Do it or trade from 2 to 10. Do we know how many teams are in this league?
We don't know anything, no. But that's dynasty trades, man. They're crazy. They're always worked out over a long time. So you just want to chisel, grind him down. If he's taking that second pick, he's tanking, right? He's just looking for deals. Prey on the weak. That's the fantasy motto. Okay, cool. All right, Brian. Jason. Let's go. Let's hit some injuries. What do we got? What are the big ones?
So we have a little bit of bad news. We also have a little bit of good news as well. Let's actually start with some good news today. We're going to start with the Eagles. And I promise no shade on the Eagles, but this is actually very good news. Both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith returned to practice, and they're, all signs are pointing to them playing on Sunday in Week 6 against the Browns, which is great. They got a home game. Brown hasn't played since Week 1. He was actually really close to returning right before the bye, but the bye is what forced the Eagles' hand. We're like, yeah, we're going to hold him out. But he did practice the Friday before that game against the Bucs. Smith missed the game with a concussion. He healed up during the bye week. He was cleared to practice this week and has been going, and is expected to clear concussion protocol. So once those guys do fully clear and are all clear to go and are active, Brown goes back into your wide receiver 1. Devontae goes to wide receiver 2.
Okay, so go Birds, go.
Go Birds, I guess.
So that really that'll give Hurts a bump. Maybe Barkley gets a little downgrade, but realistically, you don't want him getting 30 carries a game, anyways.
I mean, he's gonna get a ton of touches as it is, and even the game where they all played together, I mean, Barkley went off, so it doesn't really matter. Although the Browns are good against the run. The Browns defense is still very good and respectable. It's just their offense that really is the reason they're 1-4.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what do we got now? We got my boy Nico. He's on the short-term IR. Just Correct. A death blow.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, this guy is now clearly underpaid. Like, the Texans got him a bargain deal for $3 and $75, and he was leading the league in receiving. He pulled up, lame on a 67-yard touchdown catch after he cooked the Bills defensive back, and just pulled up lame into the end zone, and now he's out for 4 weeks, so that's tough. Unfortunately, hamstrings are kind of like that. Texans are in a place where they can slow play it. You might as well hold them out for 4 games if you're a real team. Not fantasy. That obviously is not great for fantasy, but it is what it is. The good news, there's not many options on the waiver wire from the Texans because Stephon Diggs will, jump into that 1A role as well as Tank Dell. And Joe Mixon actually just returned to practice today, and he could come back this week. So a lot of those shares could be, just taken up anyway. The one guy to look out for, though, is maybe Dalton Schultz. You've been kind of looking for that break. He hit a huge year last year. He's only getting about 4 to 5 targets a game right now. Be very interested to see if that goes up with the absence of Collins.
So how do you rank Dell and Diggs? Who do you rather start for fantasy?
I'm ranking Diggs still higher. You don't trade for a guy like that if you're the Texans to not, have him be a 1B. 1A is out.
But we all know Dell is Stroud's guy, right? Everyone saw that podcast in the summer when he's like, who do you want as your wide receivers? He's like, well, I'll take Megatron, I'll take Jerry Rice, and I'll take Tank Dell. So
yeah.
But what does that really mean? But
it's a podcast, and it also also helps. Not trying to be ahead. Stroud is Stroud. I love Stroud personally. Big fan of his. He just seems like a guy who does not want to deal with any drama, any BS whatsoever, and anything he can do to get away from it, it's going to happen. So those are also things with podcasts. But Diggs is that guy who wants the ball a lot. And I just still feel like at this point he's the wide receiver 1 for them while Collins is missing.
So would you go trade for Diggs, like fantasy-wise? Let's say you want to trade Diggs with Brandon Ayuk for Stephon Diggs. Who'd you rather have?
Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
Especially now, Ayuk finally had that breakout game on Sunday. He had 8 for 147. Took 5 weeks, but it's finally here. I'm still hanging on to Ayuk.
Okay, let's go. Let's say Jacoby Myers, right? We got Devontae might be done. Jacoby Myers or Stephon Diggs?
Not with the Raiders quarterback situation right now. That's
went too high, went too low.
In the parcel shipping market at this point.
Okay, let's meet in the middle. JSN, Stephon Diggs.
I would actually go for that right now. I mean, Diggs is going to be great for 4 weeks. And Smith and Jigba is still going to be the solid wide receiver 2 for a while. Or him and Lockett go between wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. But JSN's been getting a pretty healthy share of volume right now from the Seahawks. Their new offensive coordinator has been using him a lot more than Shane Waldron used to. And that's added another element to their offense that makes them pretty dangerous. So I actually do like JSN.
Okay. Let's keep going. What are other injuries? What other big ones we got?
Okay. Well, we also, we're going to start with the stay Thursday night. We do talk about kickers in here sometimes. They've been pretty valuable. Jake Moody, high ankle sprain, going to be week to week. At this point, they did not put him on short-term IR, but high ankle sprains are, I can just tell you from personal experience, it's going to be a few weeks. So, yeah, go go run to the nearest waiver wire and go find a kicker. So
okay, non-kickers. Give us some non-kickers.
All right, Christian McCaffrey. Is that
well played. I saw a little video. He was warming up. He was running around. He looked pretty good. The Twitter doctor said, he had good mobility. What if you had to, well, that's not bet your life, but let's say, it was like a expected pregnancy thing. You had to pick the week. When would you say he's back?
My prediction would be week 9. It'd be right out of the Niners bye week when he comes back. And that's what it's always seemed like the team has been targeting. But yeah, he's moving around a little bit better. It's not the death wish that everybody thought. The Niners could use him obviously sooner rather than later. But week 9 seems like the most realistic return date for him. And the boys just need to tread water until then. And if you're a fantasy owner, you also need to tread water until then. If you have Jordan Mason, hang on to him. Isaac Dorendo got a couple carries. It was the best he's looked as a pro on Sunday. He got, a couple runs worth, 4 to 5 yards, which was a very encouraging sign. Maybe they can alleviate some of the pressure off of Mason as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, what else we got? No more Niners injuries. Bring us out of the NFC West.
Okay, we're gonna go 3,000 miles across the country here. We're gonna go to the Meadowlands. We're gonna talk about the Jets. The fact that we made it 16 American minutes without talking about the Jets is impressive considering all the news this week. But Aaron Rodgers is dealing with a hamstring issue and a low ankle sprain. At this point, he is going to be fine. And if you have him, this is a good week to start him. The Bills' defense, other than the game against Jacksonville at home, has struggled. They give up points. They don't force a ton of turnovers. This could be a good Aaron Rodgers game, even with Nathaniel Hackett demoted as a play caller. This is kind of one of those games where the bear has been poked. No pun intended, due to Aaron Rodgers' alma mater. I've got thoughts on Cal if you really want. But I feel like Rodgers is going to have a big week. The Bills' defense has struggled for the most part. Again, they've only had one really, really good game. They got torched in primetime on the road the last time they played 2 weeks ago against Baltimore. This is not the same Bills defense as it was a couple years ago. And Von Miller is still out, so they have no pass rush presence right now.
Okay, let's stay with Buffalo. So James Cook didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday. The problem is Monday night game. James Cook's a stud. What do? You go pick up Ray Davis, and then you're kind of covered either way.
Definitely go pick up Ray Davis if you need to. I still feel like Cook will still go. At this point, I don't know what the extent of that injury is, and plus you have that extra day too because of the Monday night game. So it's really about Friday.
Yeah. So it's one of those double-edged swords. You get the extra day to heal, but then you don't have any flexibility if he doesn't go.
Yeah, but if you have Ray Davis, why not?
Okay, so pick up Ray Davis. Okay. And then what else? So let's talk quickly. We got all the QB changes, mostly not for injury, but right. We got Aiden O'Connell replacing Gardner Minshew. Right? Is that arrow up or arrow down for the pass catchers? Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers.
I would say this weekend it probably actually kind of arrows up in a way.
Steelers?
The Steelers are tough, but Dak Prescott got them the other day, and these games are very weird. You'd think this is what we know about the NFL. Nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
When you look at the most logical and obvious situations of things, so teams, promotes another quarterback to starter, they're going against an elite defense. Every sign in the world is pointing to you saying the Raiders are going to get killed. O'Connell's going to have a miserable game, and his receivers are also going to be, brutal, especially without Devontae Adams. They usually do something. So I don't want to say stock way up, but stock a little more than rock bottom, I would say. And, I wouldn't go out of my way to start either Jacoby Myers or Trey Tucker, but I would start Brock Bowers because he's actually one of the best fantasy tight ends in football right
now. Okay, cool. And then we got the Pats, right? We got Drake May in finally for Jacoby Brissett, who's just been I don't think he's thrown over 200 yards. He's got maybe a couple passing touchdowns. It's just been brutal. Give me 30 seconds of Drake May while I let my dog in.
I don't know much about what Drake May's been doing or learning. I want to err on the side of optimism and think he could actually do well this week, even though, the Texans defense has also been a little susceptible. They give up points. They give up yards. They could find ways to make things happen. So, I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't start Drake May. I wouldn't start anybody in the Patriots offense other than Ramondre Stevenson. But something to keep an eye on. And if he does well, there you go. Got a nice little
Here's the defender. I've been big on Demario Douglas, right? I think he's just a target hog, especially for rookie QB safety blanket. I'm really excited for Demario Douglas. I think he's a must pick up. I'm starting him in my big money league. I think he had 6 for 59 last week, right? He scored a touchdown a few weeks ago. So, I mean, just going from an incompetent QB to competency, you just can't put a price on that.
Yeah,
and then we got one more.
Drake May's going to be. We just don't.
Yeah, well, sure. But, the rookie QBs have been looking pretty good, right? They all played well last week.
Yeah, they did. Caleb looked great. Jaden's been phenomenal, so far. Shout out ASU. He started there, so I can say that. We can borderline claim him. But, yeah, no, so far so good. Obviously, we're going to look forward to seeing J.J. McCarthy next year. Maybe.
And then my boy, Spencer Rattler for Derek Carr, right? We saw Carr go down, right, in the Sunday nighter against the Chiefs. Yep. He didn't look great. That offense really isn't that explosive, right? They run on first down, they bomb it on second or check down. And it's just but I'm a huge Spencer Rattler fan. I think I wouldn't start him for fantasy. I know Jacob had him low in his QB rankings, but I think the Saints offense is going to truly take off. Are you buying? You buying Spencer Rattler in the Saints?
I actually am a little bit. I mean, the Bucs defense. You looked at what they did against the Falcons last week. They got torched.
Yeah.
After a while, and they tend to give up yards. They have guys who are banged up in that secondary that Rattler can take advantage. I think what people forget about Rattler is, everybody sees that everything that happened in Oklahoma and everything, they saw on what QB was. What people, forget about him is he was one of the most physically talented quarterbacks coming out of high school, and he was one of the most talented quarterbacks at Oklahoma too when he was in college. So and he's got some game, and he's got guys that he can get the ball to. Alvin Kamara, you can't really ask for a better safety blanket as a running back than that. Jamal Williams can help take a load off of him. Chris Olave is good, even though he had a bad game last week. They also just went up against all-time great defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. But Rashid Shaheed is still a deep ball threat, and Rattler can get him the ball. He has the arm talent to make those plays. And that game is at home against the Bucs, again, whose defense has struggled. Those games are just also very chippy. Whatever it is, that's like, it's a little bit of a rivalry that nobody talks about between the Bucs and the Saints. Like, Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore are always going at it with each other.
Like right. Yeah, that's true. So you think so? Saints offense, a little slight bump with Rattler instead of Carr?
I would say flatline at this point.
Flatline?
Stock is flat.
TBD. Okay.
Wait and see. But if you need a quarterback, I wouldn't be afraid to just send it and start Rattler.
Send it. Okay, nice. I love it. Okay, cool. Let's injuries. What else we got? Let's go. Go power hour here.
All right, yeah. Forgot about our boy Malik Neighbors. Week and a half in, still hasn't practiced. Not looking good for him to clear concussion protocol for Week 6 Sunday night against the Bengals. I was thinking that he probably would. Again, he's had the long extended break with the Thursday night game last week.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's not trending well. So again, Wan'Dale Robinson, and then would be
Darius Slayton.
My boy Darius Slayton. It's not my boy. Well, I like Darius Slayton a lot. Danny Dimes loves Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Loves Darius Slayton. So we'll see there. I haven't seen any updates on Devin Singletary yet today, but after Tyrone Tracy was phenomenal last week. What do you have? 129 yards on 14 carries.
Yeah, he crushed him.
Yeah, he was. I'm glad I held on to him in a couple of weeks because that ended up working out really well. Last week, he had really solid stat line. Just couldn't get the end zone, but still 129 yards. Pretty good.
Let's say Neighbors is out. Are you Slayton wide receiver 3? Like, you're starting him over Juwan Jennings, right?
Yeah, I would flex Slayton over Juwan Jennings at this point.
Okay, and then Wan'Dale like wide receiver 2. Like, let's say
flex. Because the reality is, you probably added Wan'Dale off of waivers. You're probably not a guy that you drafted. You probably have receiver depth ahead of him. If you really need to as a wide receiver 2, sure. But I would say more flex than wide receiver 2. But wide receiver 2 is available. The Bengals have been a little susceptible in the passing game defensively. So why not?
Okay, yeah. It's definitely a get right matchup. Although the Bengals are desperate, they're going to be hungry. I like the Bengals in that game, but
I do like the Bengals to win that game too, but I mean, I like the Bengals to win the game on Sunday as well. They still gave up, 41 points.
yeah, that's true. And then let's go. We got the Colts, right? Jonathan Taylor not practicing, Anthony Richardson full practice. But what do, right? Joe Flacco's better. Oh, and Michael Pittman on the IR. So
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Josh Downs guy. I've been a Josh Downs truther since like the end of last season, and I had, been pretty big on him. And he fell, he fell way under the radar in a lot of drafts because of the ankle injury. But everybody forgets this guy had 771 yards and 2 touchdowns in his rookie year,
Jesus,
which
you
is
had that
good.
offhand?
Yeah, I wrote a piece on that earlier this year, so that's where I thought came in. But ever since he's come back, he's put up ever other than the first week, where he was working kind of back in. Ever since then, he's had two double-digit fantasy point games. So you're not really losing a lot with him.
So what do you do then? So right, if Flacco's in, Downs must start. But if Anthony Richardson in, I mean, it's a pretty big downgrade, right?
It's a little bit of a downgrade, sure, but also Richardson can spread the ball around. He had some good games throwing the ball last year. I still believe in Anthony Richardson. The Titans' defense is a little bit stingy, though. However, they beat Tyler Huntley. So
Yeah,
there's that. They did give up a lot to Aaron Rodgers. They were stingy against Caleb Williams in his debut.
yeah, that's fair. Okay.
To figure out what to believe. Now they're coming off the bye. So, I still have faith in Anthony Richardson, and I still have faith in their wideouts and their pass catchers. I would still, if you have Josh Downs right now, how can you not start him? He's getting 8 to 10 targets a game.
Must start no matter what. Okay.
The volume alone makes him very startable.
Okay. We're gonna move to the preview. We're gonna talk about tonight's game. It's a banger. Unless anything we missed.
Yeah, actually, just a couple more little tidbits here of good news. Cooper Kupp, I know the Rams are on the bye this week, but he is expected back for week 7 once they are back from the bye.
Okay. Cooper Kupp, let's go.
Jesus. Yeah, that's big, especially for my team in our fantasy league, because I have him and he went for 35 points week 1. So, yeah, the second he comes back, he is wide receiver 1, in my opinion. Matthew Stafford.
In the whole league?
I mean, just in general.
Okay.
You're starting him as a wide receiver 1 without.
He's a wide receiver 1, not the wide receiver 1.
Yeah, not the wide receiver 1, but a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, okay. But also maybe the.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, this dude won the Triple Crown 3 years ago, and Matt Stafford just loves him. Like that. Going back to the hype on Puka Nacua, which was understandable because he had such a good year last year. But the second Kupp came back, I mean, that's Stafford's guy. And, for me, I still, as long as Cooper Kupp exists in that offense, he is the guy I'm drafting first out of the Rams.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see if his body can hold up. Okay, any more good news?
Yeah, Joe Mixon returned to practice today. So he's got a shot to play on Sunday. That's very good news for the Texans. I'm sure they could use him back. Their running game has really struggled ever since he's been out since the end of week 2. But yet they've been able to hold the fort. So it's something to monitor at this point. Dameon Pierce is expected to play, so Cam Akers' stock is going to take a hit, seemingly no matter what this weekend. So there's that. If you had him, I started him in the league last week, and he did good enough for me. But
he scored. But the other guy, Dar, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Man, he looked explosive, right? Dual threat. Yeah. He was catching balls. He's running. Now without Collins, so I think he's the dark horse play, or at least stash because if Mixon, if Mixon doesn't play or re-injured
at this point myself.
And also, anyone listening, right? Throw some questions. If you're on Twitter, throw some questions. If you're watching on YouTube, throw some questions, right? We'll deal with your ridiculous trade proposals, any start sits. We're going to be talking some prop bets shortly because we love this Thursday night game. Jason's got it dialed in, so just throw us anything you got. We will handle it. Let's do it. Thursday night game, right? We got your Niners at Seattle. Seattle's 3.5-point dogs at home, which is very surprising because they're 3-2. Niners are 2-3. Total's 48.5. We could be starting a trend of good Thursday night games after last week's, banger Falcons game where Kirk threw for 500. First thoughts. What jumps out at you in this game?
I mean, are we talking about my feelings, or are we talking about statistical analysis here?
I'm going to say the viewers care more about the statistical analysis and your
No,
feelings.
for sure. I had to throw in the sarcasm. My team.
We'll end with your feelings.
Yeah, fair enough. Right now, must-win game for the Niners. I mean, to start out with, the one interesting thing about this game is obviously, this is the Niners' first go-around with the Seahawks with a new coach, and for the first time in over a decade. The Niners, the exception of a couple of years, have had some success offensively against the Seahawks under Kyle Shanahan. However, one of the defensive coordinators that Kyle Shanahan has really struggled with is Mike McDonald. If you remember last year when he was defensive coordinator of the Ravens, he devised up a plan on Christmas night, and Brock had his worst game as a pro. So it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. He clearly has a blueprint, but Seahawks are missing a couple guys as well. It's not the same, obviously not the same personnel back there, but the Seahawks have a couple defenders that can make Brock's life very miserable.
Okay. Let's do there's just so many fantasy weapons in this game, right? This is just to get everyone in, even though it's potentially two good defensive teams. Geno's leading the league in passing yards. Brock Purdy's been slinging it. Let's say you can only start 3 players from each team for fantasy. Who are your must starts? Let's start with Seattle. Start with Seattle.
I mean, you can't not start the big 3: the quarterback, the running back, and the receiver. You got to start Geno Smith. The Niners defense is really struggled this year. They have not been dominant. They're banged up. There's some issues there. Even if they start fast, they haven't finished well. There was a lot of Cardinal players who had really good fantasy days last week. Although Kyler started off pretty good, with the 50-yard read option.
Pretty good?
Yeah. I was saying James Conner started out slow. He did nothing in the first half, and then all of a sudden he wore the Niners down in the second half and turned in a really nice fantasy day. So there's that. And then you got to start DK Metcalf. I know he struggled against the Niners the last couple of years against Charvarius Ward. This is not the same Charvarius Ward right now at corner covering him. Ward's been very banged up. I feel like Metcalf is due for a big night. That's going to lead me into a couple of props here, actually, while we're at it. So the first one that I saw, this is Gronk's pick on FanDuel, over 66.5 receiving yards. Didn't give me the exact odds, but I really like that one tonight. And then on the Action Network, I saw him as an anytime touchdown scorer, plus 150. I like that one too, and would take that.
Okay, so you think history not as important? It's about today, right? Ward's usually a shutdown corner. He's been great, but he's just if you're
He's averaging, 67 yards a game right now allowed on being targeted.
Wow.
He's the same guy, unfortunately, at the moment. So I actually really do like, DK Metcalf over 66.5 receiving yards, and I like him as an anytime touchdown scorer as well.
Okay, and then let's go running back. We got Ken Walker. I think he had 5 rushes last week, right? Game script really got out of hand. They didn't run the ball at all. But he's really turned into a third down back, right? He's on the field for third downs, right? I think he had 57
he's on the field every down back for them right now for sure. I mean, he's an absolute beast, and usually how it works is when a guy has a really awful game like that one week, they bounce back the next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the receiving game. I really love his receiving props. It's all out in the Twitter universe, right? You can get a 20.5, 21.5. He had a lot. They're just Niners are susceptible to it, right? What do they play, like a cover 1, cover 2, right?
Yeah.
So that check down's there. There's gonna be a lot of pressure, right? A little safety valve. I just think that's a great play.
Oh, for sure. I do too. I can't say I hate it myself.
Okay. So
the Niners, right now I'm a little squeamish on starting Brock Purdy. As much as I love the guy, the fantasy numbers, he's had one breakout game, the game against the Patriots, but the Niners have just been so inefficient in the red zone. It's scaring me a little bit. And this isn't even from a feeling. This is just a fact. Like, they just haven't really gotten it done in the red zone at this point. So right now, the 3 guys I like to start are Jordan Mason, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle.
Wow. No Debo.
No, not right now.
Not right now. What's going on? He had one catch last week. He had a few runs, but Is he getting game scripted, play scripted? Ayuk's blow up makes sense, but
Debo's playing through a calf strain right now too.
Oh, he is? Oh God.
Yeah, he strained his calf earlier in the season after the Vikings game, and he missed a week. He came back right away, which was great, but people do forget that. He did have a good game against the Patriots, but that was the Patriots. He was kind of held in check last week, against a really good defensive coordinator. So there's some DCs out there who clearly can scheme for him. Jonathan Gannon is a very good defensive mind. Mike McDonald is a very good defensive mind. So it's definitely something to pay attention to.
Okay, because I know my guy Keith Cork on Wager Pass, he's got Debo rushing, receiving. I think it's 72.5 as one of his best bets. Because desperate times, you go to your desperate guys, and Debo is the guy. And especially short week, they're probably not going to give Mason a full complement of carries. They'll want to ease off a bit because that's what they do in short weeks. Plus, you need a win. You find Debo over the middle, and you just let him get to work.
You find him in the screen game and make sure guys can get downfield and block. That's true, and especially because Brandon Ayuk is probably going to see a very nice steady diet of Devon Weatherspoon tonight. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. So,
yeah. So I'd be putting Debo. My three would be I'd be going Mason, Debo, and I think you just got to start Kittle, right? I think he's maxes. He's maxes tight end 1 this week. He's the only one of the few tight ends you can trust, right? He's getting 4 catches, 40, 50 yards. Plus, he's scoring a lot. So just because of the positional versus, whatever dependency or something, yeah, you need Kittle.
Yeah. The lack of depth, so to speak, of the position. Yeah, I like Kittle tonight as well.
Positional scarcity. That's what I was looking for.
That works.
But so yeah, this is just a banger game. So what are the props your boys got? Because they've been doing really well for us the last couple.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So again, Jordan Mason over 82.5 yards rushing. Seahawks have been a little susceptible against the run.
Yeah. Tracy just lit him up. I think he's averaging 100 yards. He gets most of the work. Explosive plays, right? He hit it last week, but he only had 12, 14 carries or something.
Yeah, it was strange, but he still hit it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good sign. Right? Positive game script. They're favored, so theoretically, if they're up, they're going to be running. I mean, Jordan Mason just seems like the lock of locks. The only thing I'd say is Thursday nights, running backs never ever go over. I don't know what it is. It's a short week. They're banged up. That it's just it's a curse of death. But I'm on it too. Okay, Mason. What else? And then we had what? DK.
The DK over 66.5 yards receiving, and the DK anytime touchdown.
Okay. But you personally won't be betting those.
I mean, I don't bet. So there's I straight up don't sports bet, but I talk about it all the time. It's community, especially in my groups and my circles. So we're always talking about it, and always lean on my guys for support.
Okay, and then I also like both running backs. The rushing props, right? Brock Purdy's going to be about 12.5. He hit 33 last week. Yeah. Right. He loves to scramble. It's a big game. He's not going to be sliding. He's just shown like Baker recently.
Slide after 12 yards. So
yeah. But he's being aggressive, trying to especially in the playoffs last year, he was running all over them. So I love that. And then Geno too. Niners. I don't know if they're going to be blitzing him, but they're going to be all over him. There's going to be tons of pressure. He's going to have to get out of the pocket. If he doesn't see anyone open downfield, he will run. Last week he ran a lot. What do you have? 75, 76 rushing yards last week?
Yeah, he actually had a pretty big rushing game last week, which was surprising. But yeah. I also do like Geno Smith over 250.5 passing yards. Also on. Shout out Kay Adams for that prop. And that was on the Kay Adams props. So yeah, I do like that as well.
Yeah, he averages close to 300 a game, right? Especially if you're going game script. They're at home. They're down fourth quarter. You might get some garbage time yards, playing catch up.
This game is going to be. This game is going to be painfully close.
Yeah. They got 3. They got lots of weapons now. Walker also in the receiving game. I think that 250 is he's going to right. You just want him to just be keeping pace, right? You want 120 at half, right? Maybe 160, 170 by the end of the third, and then you got 2 big drives in the fourth, right? You can do that anyways. Okay, cool. So we got that. What do you? I guess you just like the Niners. Do you think they cover? Do you like the over?
I'm gonna have to go out of superstition here, and I'm gonna let you take this one because I don't talk about my own team in the spread. Can't do it. We need a win tonight. I'm in my bag.
Yeah, the way the season's been going, I think it'd be crazy to take the big road favorite, right? You got 3.5. I guess the smart money, maybe you tease the Seahawks, right, to like 9.5, 10.5. But I would take the home dog with the Niners money line. I definitely like, and then I think it's going to go over. I mean, offenses have clicked, right? We saw last week. It was they took the first few weeks as like a preseason, but they were firing on all cylinders. So right, this could explosive plays. There's lots of guys that can hurt them. Both QBs are playing really well, and we could even see defensive score because Purdy's been throwing picks.
Or special teams. We blocked a field goal and housed it last week, which is surprising, and then we chased it with a bad kickoff return coverage, and our kicker got it.
Yeah, okay. The questions are a little light. We've covered the preview. We've covered the injuries. So now what we were going to talk about is the hits and misses kind of in fantasy this year because it is just getting crazy out there. The first round's a bloodbath. If your guy's just playing, that's a win, right? So we did our
weird fantasy year so far, especially in the early rounds.
Yeah, so we did our expert 16-team league, PPR, just standard 1 QB. And Brian ended up with first pick. He went CMC. Obviously, that's not looking good, right? And then Breece Hall, Bijan, that's pretty much the consensus. But, I don't know. What would you do? Let's say, back in time with the knowledge that we have now and you got first pick. What are you doing?
Even before the knowledge I had now, and I just want to make this perfectly clear. I was taking first overall. I had that pick. I was taking Justin Jefferson.
You might have to. You got the receipt somewhere to prove that?
I don't have anywhere. I just was so perplexed to why he was falling to 8th and 9th and 10th in this league, or in fantasy leagues everywhere, when he is QB proof. I mean, Everybody forgets he went for almost 500 yards and 3 touchdowns with Nick Mullins last year when he came back from injury after Kirk went down. So to me, that's who I would have gone with. As first off, the only other guy I would have gone first off was Saquon.
Okay.
I mean, that new offense, finally getting to play in a competent offense for once in his life, with such good skill players around him, would have just been. I mean, that's too hard to pass. That's not hateable to pass on it by any stretch of the means. And whoever has picked him in the first round is clearly working out at this point. I mean, he's having an all-pro season. He looks like himself. He's putting up big games. Even his bad games are 15 to 16 points. If you look at Breece right now, his bad games are bad games. Saquon's bad games are still good.
And then Breece could be he could be heading for a timeshare. Braylon Allen looks great, right? They just fired the coach. Who knows what's happening there? But if you had Breece, would you try and sell low? Would you buy low, buy high, buy low?
Yeah, if you can buy low, why not? If it's me, Breece is still really good. If you have a chance to buy, looking at his stock right now, it's probably as low as it's been since he got hurt a couple of years ago. I would definitely try to buy low, or at least if I'm a GM trying to trade for him, I'm not starting my offer very high.
So Jordan Mason for Breece Hall, who says no?
Right now, nobody other than Mason's timeshare, or Mason's time as the guy is it's winding down a little bit.
Yeah, in theory, but it depends how you are, right? So if you're 5-0, 4-1, and you got Jordan Mason, maybe you find the Breece Hall owner, because I guarantee he's not doing that well. He's probably staring down the barrel of a 1-4, 2-3. Just desperate for a little adrenaline shot.
I'm a Breece Hall owner. I'm 3-2, so thank you very much.
Okay, we got a question here. Jacob Ander, looking to drop Ertz now that Evan Ingram should be back. Okay, should I pick up Jalen Warren or Adonai Mitchell PPR? I think this is pretty simple, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Warren.
You're thinking Warren?
I am thinking Warren. I mean, Mitchell's nice, but at this time, what have we seen from him other than 1 touchdown?
Sure, but with Pittman down, so then Downs, Alec Pierce, Mitchell could end up being the wide receiver 1, but
he could. That's a could. And with Jalen Warren, when he's back on the field, he's a passing down back with the Steelers right now. Najee Harris still hasn't done anything to rip the number 1 job and get completely out of that timeshare. So I actually still like Warren here.
Okay, that's probably true. Yeah, it's true. I love Warren. Yeah, he hasn't done anything, but he's 1 injury away, or he's still probably better than Najee from getting heavy reps. And the Steelers like to run the ball.
A couple bad Najee carries away at this point from being the guy.
Yeah,
that timeshare is still, when they're both available, that timeshare is still it's still 60-40 at this point, but it shrinks.
And the thing we know is the Steelers want to run, right? I think Harris has 13 carries in every game this year, right? They're always going to be close. They don't trust Fields to really sling it. Russell Wilson may be back, might not, but he's also not going to be slinging it, right? They want to grind clock, run the ball, win. They want to win 16-13, right? So
they're not going to let Russ cook. No.
No, no, they won't even let Russ microwave. Okay, so yeah, Jalen Warren. That's the move. Mitchell, if I knew Anthony Richardson was out for the year and Flacco was starting, you might be able to talk me into Mitchell.
I would agree with that because he does like to spread the ball around a lot, and I'm definitely a Flacco guy.
Okay, all right. Next question, Sebastian. What up, my man? My team is Brock Purdy, Kyron Williams, Brian Robinson Jr., J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Brooks, Jettas is Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Khalil Shakir. Okay, I don't need to read all these. Thank you for giving us all the info, though. Info is key. Knowledge is power. Would you send Kyron and Shakir for A.J. Brown, Laporta, and Bucky Irving? Yes,
Ooh.
I would.
Yeah, I'm doing that too, considering what this guy has on his Sebastian has on his roster. I'm doing that.
Right, Bucky is coming. He's going to take over for White. Everyone knows it. Everyone's seen it. He's more explosive. White will probably still be in the passing game. It'll kind of be like a Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs situation, right? AJ Brown, you're buying low. Sam Laporta, you're buying low. I am still a Laporta stan. He is the monster. It's just Jameson Williams has just been eating it, mowing his lawn.
He's a breakout game, and I feel like it's coming this weekend.
Yeah, they just got too many mouths to feed. He's one injury away, I think, from beasting again. And then AJ Brown, right? We all know what he does. He crushes people, right? So as long as that hammy's healthy, right? Plus Shakir's still not practicing, although he has looked great. Kyron's been good, but I'm not a believer. So yeah, I'm a big.
Having 3 wide receiver ones as your 2 wide receivers and your flexes to me has always been the move. I've made a couple and won a couple of championships doing that.
Yeah. Plus, you got Jonathan Brooks hopefully coming back soon. They haven't activated his practice window yet, but they got nothing to play for. So, and people loved him. Okay, questions coming. Nino Pena, let's go. How do you guys feel about this trade I just did? Well, you should ask this before, but okay. Traded away Alvin Kamara and T. Higgins for Saquon and Tank Dell.
I don't mind this at all.
Okay.
Again, if we were doing a redraft here, Saquon would be one of the 2 guys I took number 1 overall. And again, CJ loves Tank Dell, and Tank Dell will get the rock. He'll start getting the rock more, especially now for the next 4 weeks. Like, why not?
But so you do like the trade because he traded Kamara and Higgins for Saquon and Dell.
Yeah, I like acquiring Saquon a lot.
Yeah. Okay. And then Higgins also says, Higgins, Dell. What would you do with those 1-on-1? Who would you rather have right now?
Ooh, tough call. I'm still going T. Higgins.
You're going T. Higgins. Okay.
Yeah, just because T. Higgins still has wide receiver 1 potential, and has that ceiling, while Dell, ceiling seems to max out at 2.
Okay, but they're pretty close. And then you got Kamara, Saquon. Kamara's been great, but Saquon's just he's a monster. So
now with him in another offense, it's like, or him in a competent offense for once in his life, it's pretty amazing. It's like I just said, his bad games are still very good.
Yeah. So we like that trade. But next time, ask us before. Check us out in our Discord, right? We answer trades. We do it all. So we got about 12 minutes left. If we got any questions, we'll fire away. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going with that little draft review here. So we go, right? We went McCaffrey, Brees, Bijan, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, right? He seemed like the safest pick in the whole draft, but now with Jameson, he's not getting the targets, right?
Even still, he's still putting up good numbers.
Okay, so you don't mind that pick so much.
Week one was a down week, but ever since then he's been doing great. He's still
okay.
This dude in his last game played caught and threw for a touchdown.
Oh, that's true. That's true. The Goff. So we have that. I guess it's hard to do 2 revisions because AJ was hurt. But what would you do with this glut here? CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown.
CeeDee Lamb. He had just gotten paid. He's one of the youngest out of that group. He is the guy right now. He came on real strong at the end of last year and really became the number 1 receiver in fantasy. So I would have taken CD.
Okay. So what would you do with Chase though? Right, he had 2 touchdowns, 150 yards. He's back. Burrow's back, but they're 1-4. Like, do you think is there shutdown if they go 1-5, 2-6? Maybe if they're 4-9 or something.
I
Is
don't
there a
think he's
chance
going
they
to
play
allow
for a
that.
pick?
I don't think he wants to get paid, and
That's
that's a
fair.
big issue. And right now, the Bengals' biggest mistake was not paying him. His every week that he's the last 2 weeks, he continues to do anything remotely close to that. You could just keep adding zeros to his number. So, I don't think he's got to beat JJ by. He's going to beat JJ by a penny at this point. He can beat him by close to as much as he wants.
He'll beat him by a Bitcoin or 100
Yeah,
Bitcoins. So if you had Chase, you're 4-1, you're killing it. You're not looking to sell high. It's like just ride the wave.
that's just getting cute. I'm still riding. Joe Burrow is playing all pro level football right now for the most part. He made one mistake the other day when he threw that interception late.
Yeah.
But he also threw 5 touchdowns. Right now, the Bengals defense is definitely the issue, but the Bengals passing game is working.
Okay. So 1-4, you go 2-4, you're 3-4, you're back in it.
I've been there. I had a year, let's say 2018. I was 1-4, and I went 0 RB. My first 4 picks, or my first 3 picks. Sorry, I went 3 wide receiver ones, and everything just finally clicked after that with those offenses. Those wide receivers can pay big dividends late, especially if you get hot. And it took me all the way to a championship.
Okay. Well, from God, well, I don't know what the saying is. God's ears to somebody's mouth.
God's ears, yeah.
Your lips to God's ears. That's the one. Okay. Boom. We got 9 minutes left, people. Give us your questions. Give it to us. All right. Dylan Fink. Oh, you got the great profile pick. We remember you. All right. Full PPR. Thank you. Pick 2. We like that. Jennings plays tonight. We didn't know that. Thank you. Just kidding. Jennings, Alec Pierce. Wow, look at the work you put into this. This is
This is crazy.
This is great. Demario Douglas, my guy. And then Houston Hutchinson, Xavier Hutchinson.
Yeah. And then you got Montavian Wicks against the Cards. Ray
McLeod. Okay, so Hutchinson, you're not playing. Ray, you're not playing. I think Mario's my guy, but you got to see Drake May first, right? I think you're right. Wicks, Arizona is kind of a dream matchup, but Romeo Dobbs will be back. Jennings, it's deep. Oh man, this is tough.
I like Alec Pierce.
Yeah, but I think Richardson's going to play. But yeah, I think Alec Pierce probably.
Pierce always, for random reasons, just seems to break one.
I'd go Wicks. I think you got to play Wicks. He didn't do much last week, but that Arizona secondary is nothing. Nothing to be scared of. Christian Watson is probably not going to play. If he does, maybe that would change. But Wicks had 14 targets 2 games ago. Everybody loves him. Arizona, that's kind of get everyone in game. So I'm Pierce Wicks.
Pierce Wicks for me too.
Pierce Wicks. So I'm now looking at Ray McLeod, Carolina. I mean, look at these games though, right? You got Carolina, Washington. These are some get your guys in, but.
Washington's been good. I mean, they've been. I mean, granted, they played the Browns last week in that offense until they #free Jameis is going to sting. So yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Tough. But yeah, I'm probably just thinking Pierce Wicks. But then you can also do that thing depending, man. It's tough. Depends on your projected points. Because I love Demario Douglas. I believe in Drake May. The Houston secondary is pretty good. So, but it depends what you're looking for, what you need, right? Bateman could get loose. But yeah, let's go Wicks Pierce. Let's just play it safe. That's the move.
Safe as you could be.
Right. Plus, these are your lower guys too, right? You just want to snake at some points here. But hold on to Douglas. I'm telling you, he's gonna pop. Pop Douglas will pop. You heard it here first. Probably not first. All right, we got a few minutes left. Let's just finish up with this first round here. Looking at the draft, right? So we had like Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison. Are they first rounders again? Like, no. Okay.
I mean, I understood the hype around Garrett Wilson. I understood the hype around Marv. I mean, Marv's a generational talent coming out, but still, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, rookie wide receiver first round. So that's a little difficult. Garrett Wilson, again, understood the hype. Finally got Rodgers back. He's going to be healthy. But, so far the returns have not been great. Although he did get 22 targets on Sunday, which was awesome.
He did, man. It was crazy. I was up early watching that game. It was just Garrett. And then, okay, what do we got here? Okay, we got a few minutes left, people. We'll handle as many questions as you guys can get in the next 5 minutes. All right, Sean M. Hi, guys. 2 and 3 in PPR. Record, yes. Always give us your record. Always record. Thank you, Sean. All right, I have a trade offer. All right, current
We should make that a show rule.
Yeah. We got current RBs: Cooks, Chuba, Braylon Allen, and Brian Robinson. Okay. Cooks is James Cook, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Right? It's not okay. I'm sure it's not Dalvin. Okay. Current wide receivers: CD, DK, McLaurin. That's nice. Offered to me: Brian Robinson for Ayuk and Bucky. Okay. Hopefully you're starting 3 wide receivers. Get a little. I like that because I love Bucky.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I like that trade too. Especially again, looks like Ayuk's finally pulled out of the funk. You're buying low on him. Yeah.
Yeah, you get your 3 stud wide receivers. That's going to instill fear.
You literally have 4 wide receiver ones on your team between CD, DK, and Scary Terry already. You add Ayuk to that mix. Put you in a good spot. So I greenlight that.
But it's like Brian Robinson's been good. That offense is great. But him and their timeshare and Bucky's timeshare. But I think Brian Robinson here, Bucky's right below him, right? If you're getting a free Ayuk.
No, not yet. Not right below him, but Bucky's really good depth to have at this point, especially because he's on the rise. So I would say right now, Brian Robinson's a very high-end RB2. Bucky is Bucky is an RB3 flex, but the stock is climbing.
Yeah.
The noise is coming because if you look at Rachaad White didn't have a good game on Thursday night either. He just had one run that made his fantasy stop.
Yeah. Bucky had the fumble too, though. So if he keeps fumbling, he could be in trouble. But I mean, Ayuk's more than making up the difference between Brian Robinson and Bucky Irving, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a fun trade, unless it's like a shallow roster, because the 2-for-1. You might even be getting the best player in the 2-for-1. I like Ayuk over Brian Robinson. I love Robinson's been great. That offense is stacked, but man, Jeremy McNichols is good.
Also a stacked roster. You already got James Cook and Chuba Hubbard, who right now are RB1s, and the longer the Panthers go without activating Jonathan Brooks, that's more more time you get with Hubbard.
Yeah, and if there's an injury to Brace, Braylon Allen's going to the moon. So, fun trade. And you're 2 and 3, so 2 and 3. So you need the win. And also, Brian Robinson. They're playing the Ravens, right? Ravens got the best run D in the league. So this is going to help you win now. But I guess you need to trade in, and you want to start Ayuk tonight, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would do this trade, but if you can get it next week, do it. But it's always ask those Thursday night questions,
Yeah. It's not a fair trade if he gets Ayuk stats, and then I don't even know how that. I guess you can't trade a player after he's played, right?
No, you can't. Player's locked.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, we got a couple minutes left, so we're just gonna vamp. We're gonna talk about whatever we want, and we know Jason's just gonna talk about the Niners. So let's go back.
I was here to talk about the redraft again, but
we'll get back to it with Brian. We just got a couple. Okay, fine. We'll go a couple minutes longer. Okay, let's get back to the draft. All right, I took Puka at the end, but then I took Derrick Henry. That's looking like one of the best picks. Derrick Henry at 17.
The draft so far this year in like every fantasy, he looks like prime Derrick Henry, which is great.
All right, he's insane. And then Cooper hurt, Devontae hurt, Pacheco hurt. That's crazy. Laporta's looking like a bust. Etienne, Kelsey was. What you're looking at this with me? What jumps out of here, right? Drake London's looking like one of the best picks.
I'm just gonna say this again. I know I talked about him earlier, but before he got hurt, Cooper Kupp. I mean, my first 2 picks in that draft were Jahmyr Gibbs and Cooper Kupp. Could not be happier with those 2.
Sure, but at what point
to get Kupp back, and we'll be fine.
At what point, though, is the injury is a problem, right? Last year, the hammy to start the season.
This is the other issue.
Got hurt week 2.
League, and you're picking at the back of the first round. You have to kind of reach a little bit more than typical. You have to start a trend, and I felt at that point taking Kupp was the move because that was Stafford's guy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but in the playoffs, he showed who his real guy was. Puka. Puka set the single rookie record for playoff yards.
Yeah.
And Cooper was in that game. He was healthy. I had bet his yards. I was really upset. What else jumps out at you here? Just like that second round is brutal. Like Waddle sucks. Olave's been crap. Debo hasn't done much. Chain's been boomer bust. Mixon hurt. Like Etienne sucks. Like what if this is fantasy basketball? The second rounds are like locks. I just what do you do going forward?
I mean, can we just do an oopsie on the entire season? Can we just get magic healing powers for these guys? Because realistically, it's not what can you do. It's just these things are gambles. You hope that people are going to stay healthy. It's a war of attrition, like you said. And yeah, the attrition's been real this year. Pray that teams change up their regimens in the preseason because this is, for a lot of reasons, it's kind of terrible. You have guys getting hurt. You have guys being rusty for 4 weeks. Not a lot's great about it.
So, is there any strategy? What would you pivot to for next season? Like zero RB? Like, is it running backs getting hurt more than wide receivers? Is there you got to give me someone I can trust?
Yeah, there's not a lot of people you can trust at this point. It's the running backs getting hurt and the receivers wanting to get paid, which is the difficulty. But I think in a 16, and this is also different because again, 16-team format, most people don't do this many teams. You have to kind of reach and do something when you're picking at the back first round 16-team format, or even if you're picking at the front, you have to be just dead set on something and go for it. Being in the middle is very advantageous of a draft like this. 12-team at this point, I still do kind of like the hero running back strategy a little bit, but I also don't mind zero RB. If you can get 3 wide receiver ones.
But the hero RB is got a 50-50 chance, right? If you went CMC, Brees, Bijan, you're screwed. But if you went Barkley, Derrick Henry, or what? Give me one. Kyron's been okay.
Kyron? Yeah, Kyron Williams.
So, there's no rhyme or reason, right? So I just think you got to go stud wide receiver. You just got to pick. Give me a guy who might not get hurt, who's got a track record of not getting hurt, and then you just you take the high floor, ignore the ceiling.
Yeah, I agree. High floor guys, high floor only.
High floor only, but ignore the penthouses, man. Just take.
We just find the name of our new. We just find the new name of the show. High floors only.
High floors only. Okay, I think we're like. I think we're gonna workshop that.
Yeah, we might have to.
High floors only. Yeah, we just want those houses in Florida on stilts. That's it.
Yeah, and before we sign off, too, just want to say thoughts and prayers to all the people in Florida affected by everything as well. Really, just praying for everybody's safety, and hopefully, you guys are all okay out there.
Peas and peas. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to sign off, guys. Thanks for following. If you didn't get any questions in, hit us up on our Discord. You can comment on Twitter. Somebody will get to them. I'll get to them. We got the game in 2.5 hours. So, Jason's going to say go Niners. I'm going to say go Geno Smith passing yards and quarterback rushing and Jordan Mason rush yards.
Everybody in America is on that Jordan Mason prop apparently.
Which is very, very scary. So almost, if you believe in curses, go pick up what's the third running back on the Niners?
Isaac Guerrero.
Go pick up Isaac Guerrero if you believe in curses. But okay, until next time, thanks guys. Thursday, let's go. Sunday show, check us out. It'll be me and somebody else because everyone else is away. Okay. End stream. Go Birds.